All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Masters of the Universe Origins Deluxe Mosquitor. Yeah, this guy is a really cool figure. If you're unfamiliar with Masters of the Universe Origins, basically it's a toy line that's been coming out in the last few years. That's recreating a lot of original Masters of the Universe characters, but giving them slightly more posability, but really focusing on that, kind of original toy aesthetic. And the deluxe versions are ones that cost, a few dollars more, and they come with some added accessories more so than the original figures. And this time around, we are taking a look at Mosquitor, who is really, really cool. He's a member of the Evil Horde, which is one of the new teams, basically, that they added later in the original toy line. Like, they had the Heroic Warriors, which is like He-Man and all the good guys. They had Skeletor's minions, whatever they were called. And then eventually they added the Evil Horde, which is, another set of bad guys, and then also the Snake Men. So, it's cool that we're getting some characters that came from later in the toy line, because Mosquito, I think, was like one of the last few years. So it's cool that they're not like going in original release order in terms of what they're releasing with this Origins toy line. But yeah, he's a really awesome figure. He has this really neat chest pumping gimmick where this is honestly something that I didn't think I would be so enamored with when I was first looking at it. Mostly I'm just like, hey, looks like a cool bug man. Love that. But you can see he's got some red liquid in his chest here, and there's a little button on his back. And when you press it, you're kind of like oozing this blood through his body, and it's actually pretty satisfying, and it works pretty well. Obviously there's like some bubbles and stuff in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but very cool. But yeah, other than that, he's pretty typical of a Masters of the Universe Origins figure, aside from having this big wacky head. In terms of the stuff that he includes, he comes with an extra hand to hold stuff for his left hand there, because his right hand has the holding stuff one, and the left hand just has a solid fist. So you can have them both have holding stuff ones, even though he only comes with the one thing to hold, which is his little gun here. Pretty cool. He comes with an extra head, which is, yeah, I don't know if this is like based on anything, or if it's just supposed to be like a new sort of more detailed take on it. I do really like this head, and it's probably the one that I ended up preferring, honestly. And he also comes with this little sort of blast effect where you can put it on his needle nose there, and then wrap it around another figure, which we can show off in a bit to make it look like he's like sucking their energy out. But yeah, no, he's pretty cool. In terms of articulation, the head is attached to the same sort of ball joint setup that the rest of them are attached to, but because of the shape of his head, he gets like a lot of tilt and like expression out of this, and you can kind of, do it forward and back like that, and rotation all around. Just because the shape of his head is like so oblong and strange, like it's really, you get a lot of different expressions just from orienting it different ways and tilting it. So that's pretty cool. The shoulders are not actually the same typical shoulders as most of the other figures have. I'm guessing that they had to attach his arms differently because of this whole chest pumping gimmick. So usually with Masters of the Universe Origins figures, all of their limbs at the shoulder are removable like that, and it's just on this joint that goes up and down. With him, I'm pretty sure that the shoulder joints are actually on ball joints, because if you I can rotate it and get a little bit of tilt that way. It still mostly functions the same, but I actually find that his arm articulation is a little bit smoother and moves a little bit more intuitively than most of the other figures does, just because they usually have this peg kind of down at an angle. So when you rotate the arm, it kind of rotates out this way as well. Whereas him, you can just rotate the arm straight up, and it doesn't really feel like it's doing that. Mostly the amount of movements and like positions you can get is pretty much the same, but it does feel a little bit more intuitive. But also worth noting is, because of that, you can't rip his arms off and replace it with other people's arms. It makes a special note of pointing that out in the instructions. There it points out like what pieces are removable, and his arms are not, so don't try it. But yeah, he's got decent shoulder articulation with the ball joints there, like I showed off already. He's got that just below the elbow, that bicep swivel. It's got a little under 90 degrees of bend at the elbow there. The wrists are, they're just pegged on. So you can rotate them like that. And then they have this little separate hinge right there. It's got a nice waist cut. The hips, I'm pretty sure, are the same things as the other ones, which are on ball joints still. Rotate forward, back a little bit, but not a ton, out to the side. The thigh swivel is a cut below the knee, although there's also a boot cut right here below the knee, and it's kind of hard to activate the actual rotation at the knee, just because this is a bit of a looser joint and there's like not a ton to get a grip on down here. But yeah, knees bend about that much. Like it's got that boot cut, like I said. The feet can rotate forward and back, and then like the other figures, it has that ankle tilt that's kind of, you know, uh, locked into this position, sort of. I mean, not really locked in, it's just at an angle. So when you tilt the angles, or you tilt the ankles, it is also angling them forward or back a little bit. So it's something that you have to kind of like work with in terms of getting it exactly where you want it. It doesn't, like the shoulders, doesn't move entirely intuitively, but still works nonetheless. He's got, of course, he can hold his gun here. It's a little strange that they decided to give him the two grabby hands because he only comes with the one thing to hold. And it's not like they gave you another fist if you wanted to, like a closed fist, if you wanted to put the gun in this hand and have that be a closed fist. I don't know, little strange, but whatever. You can show him what he looks like with his other head here, which, usually I would prefer the G1, the vintage toy head, but this head I really like. I like all the texture on it with this little, like, scaly mosquito pattern and the, like, fat folds under here under his eyes. I just think it looks really good. And the other benefit with this head is when you use the piece here, which I'll show it attached to He-Man in a sec, if you're using it on this one, like you're kind of pressing it in there, and eventually I feel like that would start to wear off the silver paint because it is making contact and there is some friction there. Whereas with this one, you're not getting any silver paint up until this section. So it feels a lot safer to put that on there because it doesn't actually make contact with any paint or anything like that. So just another reason I prefer this head. But if you want one that really looks more like the original toy, then it's nice that this one is here too. Here he is with He-Man and Skeletor. Why not? Bring them both on. Here he is with Masterverse He-Man and Skeletor, just so you can see what he looks like with them. Obviously, they're quite a bit taller. For standard size comparisons, here he is with a Deluxe Transformer and a Pop Vinyl. So you can see what he looks like there. And last but not least, here he is, since he's part of the evil horde, here he is with the main man, Hordak himself. And yeah, they look pretty good together. Obviously, they share a pretty similar color scheme. But yeah, let's bring back on He-Man here so I can show how this blast effect works out. I've struggled a little bit with figuring out if it's supposed to go like this on him or like this. I'm pretty sure it's this way because the little lip up here fits a lot more flushly when you plug it on like that. So basically what you can do is you can take He-Man here and just kind of wrap these tendrils around his body. It's not like super form fitted or anything like that. It's just like mostly getting the point across. I'm guessing they did it that way so that it could accommodate a variety of different, like slightly different body types from this line. And then you can just plug this on there and do a pose like he's like sucking the energy out of He-Man. Now, obviously you can, pose them a little bit more elaborately than that, but just to show off how that works. And you can, if you want, also, I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but you can, since it's like a stretchy piece of rubber, you can fit this over the tip of the gun. I'm not sure if that would like stretch that out over time, but it does look good. So that's another display option. But yeah, there's not a ton else to say about him. He's a really cool figure. I love the chest pumping gimmick. I love the new head. I love the blast effect. I just feel like every part about him just works out really well. And he's probably one of my new favorite Origins figures, honestly. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, all of the Origins lines is mostly just like pretty standard 6-inch action figures. But, he's got that nice vintage feel to him, and I wouldn't change anything up about him. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Masters of the Universe Origins Deluxe Mosquitor.